In this video, we'll be taking a look at Maya's substance texture, found under Window Rendering Editor's Hypershade. You can see the substance node right here. We'll create here a procedural brick wall texture on a simple plane. Now let's scale this up. Let's hide the grid. We'll take a look. So I'll go ahead and delete this so I can recreate it. We'll go and create ourselves a blend. And let's assign the blend. Let's also create a quick light. Go under Create, Lights, Directional Light. I'll go ahead and angle this light a little bit like this. We'll hit 7 to get some lighting feedback, and then we'll go back to 5. Let's clear the work area. I'll middle mouse button drag the blend over to the work area. This is what is already connected to our plane. And now I'm going to create a substance texture for the color. You can create a substance texture directly in the Hypershade, but you can also do it quite easily by clicking on the map button. Here through the Create Render node, we'll select Substance, and that will connect a substance texture. A substance texture node is essentially a procedural texture that allows you to use a lot of different presets that will look pretty cool. As you can see, the substance icon right now is completely black. It's waiting for its substance file. When you click on the folder icon, it'll take you to Program Files, Autodesk Maya Substances. Depending on where you've installed Maya, you'll find under the Substance folder a nice long list of all the different substances available to you. We'll go ahead and select Brickwall 03, and you'll see our new shading network. Our blend is there, and now we have two different nodes for the substance. One is an output node. You don't really have to deal with this node. This is the procedural node where you'll be doing all of the fun stuff for your brick texture. Now if I press 6 in the view panel, I'll get to see the texture in action. For optimum quality in your view, you'll want to change your renderer in the view panel to the viewport 2.0. This will give you a little better feedback. In the attribute editor, we'll take a look at the substance node that's selected in the Hypershade. You'll see that only the diffuse section has a green button. This means that the output into the blend is connected only to the diffuse color. If you click on the blend, you'll see that there is indeed an input on the color. Let's see if we go back to the substance, we'd like to also create a specular map. Once I do that, my Hypershade jumps around a little bit. What the substance procedure does is it creates a file that is used for the specular portion of the blend. Where the specular map is dark, there will be little to no specular highlight, and where it's gray to bright, there will be some to more specular highlight on the object. As you adjust the substance node itself, these maps will adjust themselves together. If I scroll down, we'll see that we have our first option is the size of our shading. If we're in close on this brick, you can see there's some tessellation, or I should say some pixelation to the shader. We can go ahead and increase that, and you'll immediately notice a much crisper and nicer texture for them. Both the color and the specular map have responded with a higher resolution. This is quite the advantage to using Substance Node because it's resolution independent. Let's create one more component for the shader. Let's create a bump map. You can see immediately, if you have turned on viewport 2.0, that there's a bit of a bump. If I switch back to default quality rendering, you'll lose that bump feedback. This gives you a nice dirty brick wall. Back to the substance node in the attribute editor, and let's start taking a look at some of the options for editing. Let's for now set this back to 512 for a little faster feedback. Here you can change the age of the node to make it look grungier or a little cleaner. Grungy is good, so let's add a little bit of dirt there. We can increase the number of bricks in the X and in the Y direction, effectively tiling the texture. We can adjust the mortar to create the look that we're looking for. This is a much dirtier mortar, much older. Let's go a little bit cleaner. You can see you've got quite a lot of options, and it's definitely a good idea to go ahead and create your own in your own scene and to play with the textures while you have Viewport 2.0 selected, so you can really get a feel for how this shader works on your objects. Let's bump up the saturation a little bit. That's a bit too much. To make a nice red brick. And let's call that done. Now if you go ahead and render, you are all set. Let's change our view and take another look. If you'd like to adjust the bump, let's say it's a little too much, simply select the bump node that was created automatically by this workflow and reduce the bump depth. Let's say to about 1/3 of what we had before. I'll save this, I'll keep image in the buffer, and then I'll render again. And this way I can scrub back and forth to notice the difference in the bump that I've created. And that, in a nutshell, is the Maya Substance Shader. In this video, we took a look at what the Maya Substance Shader can do, and we looked at how to create a shading network based on the substance texture itself.